Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the Detroit Lions versus Cincinnati Bengals Week 16 matchup based on analytics. Each week, I collect all of the current 2017 NFL team data in order to analyze and project potential NFL performance. And since it's a weekly collection, there's always going to be some variation between various variables. However, there's always going to be little nuggets of truth that could become bigger nuggets of truth as the season continues. So stick around as I analyze each week's matchups based on analytics. And if you're new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So, starting with this matchup between the Bengals and the Lions. When you look at the NFL stat basic comparison data, and basic comparison data essentially looks at how the offense is doing, how the defense is doing, and of course how the special teams is doing based on most of the available data. And when you look at this matchup between the Bengals and the Lions, it pretty clearly favors the Lions here. So let's get into some reasons as to why. So, why are the Lions favoring this game? Well, first off, you have to look at offensive score percentage, which heavily favors the Lions. Essentially, offensive score percentage is just how often do you put points on the board on every offensive drive. And the Lions are about a 76.69 versus the Bengals that are about a 11.97 in that particular area. And the Bengals are better on offense in certain ways. The Bengals don't really turn the football over as much as the Lions do, and the Bengals also slightly better in terms of preventing sacks as well. But the Bengals have been better in turnovers and better in sack prevention, but they've not been better in terms of putting points on the board, which is definitely why the Lions are also heavily favored. I mean, that's why they're better on offense, because by far the most important statistic on offense is offensive score percentage. And it just clearly shows the Lions are just in the up and up there. On top of that, on defensively, the Lions are also heavily favored in many ways. The Lions have the better defensive offensive score percentage, meaning that they prevent points per drive more often than the Bengals do. The Lions also have the better turnover ratio and the better interception ratio in terms of their ability to create turnovers and, of course, get picks, interceptions, etc. The Bengals have a better sack percentage, but that doesn't really help them out that much when their defensive offensive score percentage is as low as it is. So, in many ways, the Lions have the better offense in terms of putting points on the board. They have the better defense in terms of preventing points on the board. And when you get to special teams data, the Lions have better punt return yardage. The Bengals have better kick return yardage. Defensive punt return yardage also favors the Lions. Defensive kick return yardage favors the Bengals. Field goal percentage favors the Lions. Extra point percentage favors the Lions. And the Bengals have it when it comes to punting average, when it comes to that particular data point. So, again, for the most part, though, in terms of who has the better special teams, I would give this to the Lions because they have a slightly better field goal percentage. As I tell you guys each and every single week, by far the most important data point to look at in terms of special teams data is field goal percentage. Lions clearly have a slight advantage there. They have other sort of advantages that makes it a little bit more even. However, I would say that the slight advantage goes to the Lions here. So on offense, the Lions have the better offense. On defense, the Lions have the better defense in terms of preventing points. And on special teams, the Lions have a slightly better special teams. All those factors are why the Lions are so heavily favored in this game. You know, it's why the difference is about a 68.82 versus a 4.88 for the Bengals. So it should not be that surprising that the Lions are favored in this game, but I just wanted to throw that out there that based on data, the Lions are just better on offense, better on defense, and better on special teams. Now, when you get to some other sort of data points, so now we're getting into some micro matchups or different down and distance data sort of matchups. So we're looking at the Bengals offense versus the Lions defense. When you look at this particular area, the Lions are favored on second and third down. So just kind of showing you that the Lions are better in terms of completion percentage, in terms of preventing completions in those down and distances, which factors into why their defense is also better, in many ways, and why the Lions are favored. Then, of course, you get to the Lions offense versus the Bengals defense, where actually the Bengals are slightly favored here in terms of first and second down. Third down is the only area where the Lions have a clear advantage, but I definitely would say that the Bengals defense probably might have some success at preventing completions from happening against the Lions in many ways in terms of their offense. So definitely kind of a interesting matchup to kind of see what happens from that perspective. Then we get to rushing down. So this is first down conversion rate with the run. This doesn't really have to do with yardage or explosive plays. It merely has to do with the ability to get first downs in various downs and distances. If it's 1st and 10, how often do you get a first down in that situation compared to every other team? And so on and so forth. And when you look at this data, the Bengals are actually favored on first and second down. The Lions have the worst first down rushing defense, and they also have the worst second down rushing defense in those two particular areas. So definitely kind of issues for them in terms of all this data. Then you get to the Lions rushing offense versus the Bengals rushing defense, where the Bengals are favored in terms of first and third down. So again, we have two basic issues where the Bengals are going to win in terms of the rushing downs. They're going to win on offense, and they're going to win on defense in terms of their ability to prevent rushing downs and gain rushing downs on offense. So this is the one area where the Bengals do have some advantages, though rushing offenses and rushing defenses don't really matter as much to winning football games, however. Then, of course, we get to passing down. So this is the Bengals passing offense versus the Lions passing defense. As you can clearly see, the Lions passing defense is favored on second and third down. So I kind of see the Lions kind of being more so favored and having a lot of help in terms of, those particular downs and distances. Then, of course, you get to the Lions passing offense versus the Bengals passing defense, where the Bengals are favored on first and second down. So I really think the Bengals passing defense versus the Lions passing offense is going to be the real battle to watch in this game. Because if the Bengals defense in terms of their passing D can kind of create havoc and do some things, that could make this game kind of interesting. Then, of course, we get to sack rates between the Bengals offense and the Lions defense. In this particular area, the Bengals are favored on first and second down. So I don't really see the Lions creating a lot of sacks. The only down and distance to really watch is third down. Most of the sacks that the Bengals have given up have come on third down, and most of the sacks that the Lions have been able to force have come on third down as well. So that's going to be the main down and distance to watch in terms of sacks. And, of course, we get to the Lions offense in terms of sack rate versus the Bengals in terms of sack rate, and the Bengals are pretty much favored on first, second, and third down. So in many ways, the Bengals could have an upset here. If the Bengals are able to get pressure on the quarterback, sack Stafford, and create havoc in terms of the passing game, this definitely could go more so in the Bengals' favor if the Bengals offense can get its stuff together, so to speak. So definitely kind of an interesting kind of thing to look at when you look at the micro matchups. And then, of course, you get to interception ratio between the Bengals offense and the Lions defense. This area, the Lions are favored on first, second, and even third down. So I do expect the Lions will probably get some picks in this game because of the Bengals and their issues in terms of turnovers from a certain extent. And then finally, we get to the Lions offense versus Bengals defense when it comes to interception ratio, where the Lions are favored on first and slightly on third down. Big down and distance to watch is second down. The Lions have the worst interception ratio on second down compared to the rest of the NFL, and that could be a factor in this game in terms of throwing picks and having issues because of that. Just to consider. So overall impressions of this game, I think it's going to be a Lions victory. I think most of the data on offense and defense really does favor the Lions. But I will give the Bengals this. There is a lot of things that point towards some success for the Bengals. If the Bengals defense is able to show up, get sacks, create havoc against the passing game, stop the run, if the Bengals defense is able to do its part and the Bengals offense is able to finagle its way into being successful in this game, then this could actually go to the Bengals. That's definitely a possibility in this game. But overall, I just have to go with the Lions here because I just think despite all the things I just said, I think overall, who's been more consistent at winning and who's been more consistent at getting things done, I would say it's the Lions compared to the Bengals, so that's why I'm going Lions here. But let me know in the comment section below, who do you believe is going to win this football game? And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.